Hello, welcome to Beautiful Subconscious. I am Shell Marie. So today's episode, we're going to be talking about how emotions trapped in our bodies will cause us to get sick if they're left unresolved and unaddressed. But first things first, before we get stuck into it, I am loving pulling cards before every episode just to kind of get us a sense of intention or an extra piece of messaging that we may have overlooked in our busyness of lives and only relying on the five senses that we are so accustomed to have. Knowing that there are so much more out there that we do have access to, we just got to exercise and be open to and learn to really trust in. So with that said, the card this week is this is perfect, right? I give myself permission to be healthy and live with vitality. That is just absolutely insane with what we're going to talk about today. So I give myself permission to be healthy and live with vitality. So that's the thing, right? So going into our episode today, where we're going to be talking about trapped emotions within our body, unresolved emotions, unresolved experiences, things that we avoid when left that can build into a physical manifestation of sickness. And so often or not, we really don't give ourselves permission to be healthy and to live with vitality because we feel like we deserve to carry all this extra baggage and all this extra stuff that it's expired and it wasn't ever really ours to completely carry or for an extended amount of time. So today we're going to be touching on ways that you'll be able to, I guess, when you are sick, knowing how to sort of help yourself on an energetic level and just understand if there's emotions that have contributed to this, and simultaneously, if there are things that you're emotional about, what you can do to help support your nervous system. So by the end of this episode, you're going to have some tools where you can just draw upon just as quick little, just simplified, easy techniques. Because let's be honest, when we're sick, we're not going to want to go into this full venture of, self-discovery. We're just simply wanting to get better and feel better. And that's what we're going to be focusing on today. So how do we get trapped energy in our body or trapped emotions in our body? How do we move through it? What effects do they have? What happens if we don't address them? So first things first, with emotions trapped in our body, so we can often think of times in our lives where something had left an impact, a negative, in inverted commas, a negative impact, where we've had an argument, say, with our family, or there was a time growing up that was really painful where, you saw something in your upbringing, maybe you saw mum and dad fighting, or maybe there was such money stresses within your household. And so that stress that made you feel a particular way. You felt anxious or you felt upset. You saw your mum and dad arguing. You saw your dad upset. There was bills that couldn't be paid. That you saw things that you weren't able to have growing up. And I'm just using the money example. And so it made you feel sad, potentially. It made you feel confused. It made you feel like a bit angry, potentially, because you're like, well, I don't understand, why, or why is mum and dad arguing? I'm upset about that. Can't we just all get along? Why can't we all just be happy? Who cares about money? That could be some of the thought processes that had left an imprint on you. And those emotions from that memory has been left trapped in your body. And so here you are with that same imprint that affects you every day and every day and every day. And you may think that you had dealt with it or didn't do much. It was just the way that childhood was. But simultaneously, that has etched just a little something within your subconscious. And potentially every time that you interact, we're going to stick with a money example, potentially when you interact with money, that same little scar gets just recut or just reopened. And you're like, money reminded me of that time when I was growing up. This is all unconscious, of when mum and dad used to stress about money, when I saw my dad not able to pay the bills, when I was upset that I wasn't able to buy or have the things that I wanted. And I just couldn't understand. I didn't know why it was such a big deal or why everyone was just in such a stressed out, bad mood all the time because of this. So when you interact with money, that's the filter that you look through it. And so these emotions are trapped in your body, and it can be the same with when you're fighting with your partner, say more closer, like more this day and age in reality time, you have had an argument with your partner and it's like just left unsaid, and you're noticing that there's just tension in the air. You guys haven't spoken now for a little bit and you're just feeling this elephant in the room and you're just like, well, fuck. And now I'm like just pissed and it's like interfering with your concentration at work. It's interfering with just your sense of joy during the day because you're like, oh, I'm just still pissed. Like I'm annoyed that he did that or she hasn't, owned up to this, whatever it is, there's this blanket of a denser vibration that is stuck within your body. And as we know, emotions and thoughts and beliefs at its very, 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 very core is energy. And so that energy, no matter the quality of it, you can have high vibed, high energy, you can have dense vibe, dense energy, and that energy can get stuck in your body. So we understand if it is those denser energies, if it's that lower vibration, then you can feel heavy in yourself. You can feel heavy in your spirit, heavy in your energy, heavy in your motivation, heavy in your physicality, heavy in your thoughts, heavy just all round. And then when you're just kind of living in that way, that's when soon enough you will notice that you may get a little cold or you may get sick all of a sudden. You pick up just something in the air, something viral, or there's like a rash going on. You're like, what the heck? And this is where we start to notice that when you're in a lower vibration, that's when you open up the floodgates to things because you've depleted your immune system. Your immune system is here to help provide and protect your systems of your body and your whole functioning of your body. Your immune system is here to keep you alive, like everything else of your body majoritarily. And so when your immune system is being compromised, that's because the energy, so to speak, of what would be allocated to help produce the hormones to keep your, fighting off any bacteria that you may breathe in or any toxins that you breathe in or the food that may not be nutritional. And so you're depleted in nutrition, but you're okay because you've got in general, you're pretty good. Like you've got energy stores ready to fight off anything that you may interact with on a daily basis that we're unaware of. But if that energy, that protection has been relocated to help protect you from the emotions that you didn't want to face or the pain that you experience that has now been etched and trapped in your body and it's left unresolved that you've barricaded yourself from, then all of a sudden your immune system is left open and susceptible to things come and infiltrate your body, or maybe it's through your mind and then your mind creates your physicality. Everything is interconnected. And so it's until we address those emotions that are trapped in your body, so then the body can recalibrate and that energy that was protecting you and barricading that emotion in a contained space, so it can now help and go back to its original job and duty of keeping you at an optimal state of health and keeping you at a state of equilibrium. So what I do when I get sick, often, to be fair, I actually don't get sick often. Very rarely do I get sick. But when I do, it's an emotional roller coaster because yes, I definitely can be disheartened. Like everyone can be but I can be disheartened with being sick. Like I should be doing, I could be doing more. I'm used to, well, I generally am more productive. And now that I'm sick, I have to rest. There's circuitry still I'm working and recovering through that will link to me believing that I'm not doing enough. And so when I'm sick, I'm like, oh, I just feel totally useless and hopeless. And then it can send you into a bit of a spiral. Like I did an episode, I don't know how months ago now, where I was sick in Bali. And, it was on the back of a Bali retreat where we were talking a lot about subconscious emotions, subconscious beliefs, subconscious programming that has changed the trajectory of where we were at or contributed to the people that we were at that point in time. And by bringing all of that up, these are the things that we had trapped in our body unconsciously. These are the things that we had barricaded ourselves from. And now we are actively poking and letting it rise up to the surface. So all that energy that had housed it is now like, oh, do we let go? There's still resistance with that. Okay, set it free. It rises up to the surface. And all of a sudden this pain is now being felt. And your immune system had already been low because it had been fighting against this for so long that it just kind of turns all into this big purge of sickness and toxicity on every level, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. So when I'm sick, it's going to take a sense of compassion and a sense of you just need to allow yourself to be where you're at right now. You've got to allow yourself just to be resting because there's a purpose to this. You need the rest in order for you to recalibrate and restore. And then also knowing that there's stuff that you have, allowed yourself to hold on to or get affected by that has helped contributed to your body being so out of whack and protected you for so long until it reached its threshold. And then it, instead of like completely shutting down, it reset into a more compromised state that has now gotten you into a space of being more open to, infections and things that are floating around in our environment. So when I'm sick, it definitely takes a sense of compassion. And it also just is, when you have the energy and the space, a sense of just asking yourself some questions and just seeing what comes through. Like if I rested right now, as I you're in your bed, you're sick and you're just feeling what you feel. Maybe you don't have the mental capacity to go here, and that is so okay. Please don't force yourself to be and do something that is just extra effort, and it's not going to serve you. But if you're in that capacity where you're just in that complete exhaustion of resting or it's maybe day 2 or 3 of resting and you have a little bit more mental bandwidth, can you ask yourself, like, as I rest right now, what does that make me feel? If I rest right now, or as I rest right now, what am I really feeling? And you can just hear the answers or sense the answers that come through, and it may feel like annoyed. It may feel like this is what I need. I'm relieved, emotional. You may feel like you feel unworthy or like it's just not good enough. You're antsy because there's so many things you need to do, but you physically can't do them right now. And then so from there you can ask, okay, so because I'm not doing work right now, or because I'm not tending to the work around the home, what am I noticing or what am I feeling because of that? And it could be like you failed, people are going to feel let down, you're a bad mum, your business is going to fail. And give yourself some grace that it can be as dramatic as it needs to be, because on some level there could be some truth. Like there can really, even though our logic mind's like, gosh, like Michelle, why would you say stuff like that? It's ridiculous. There's a part of you that's just like, but that's like my biggest fear. Like, what if I fail? What if my business fails? What if I'm letting down my kids? What if? And so there's those elements of questioning. And guess what? They are the emotions or the thoughts or the beliefs that are trapped in your body that you are protecting yourself from because they're unresolved or not being leaned into, that is now compromised your immune system, that is now could have created or contributed to the way that you feel, which is feeling sick. And so just give yourself some grace that yes, these questions logically, you can totally override them with sense and, practicality. But if you were just to let them come through and be like, okay, so I feel like I've let my kids down. What's the saddest thing about letting my kids down? Well, I don't ever want to let my kids down. Like that's the biggest, fear of mine. And I just want to be the best that I can. And you'll start to process like some of these emotions that you had no idea are buried within you that are creating such angst and then ultimately creating a physical manifestation. And as you start to bring what has been buried within to the conscious, you're going to be able to take its power away. You're going to be able to discharge it and neutralize it a little more. And then when you neutralize that, guess what? Then your whole body can recalibrate, and then you have a better sense of health because you have a better sense of equilibrium. It's not one-sided where it's protecting you and avoiding a particular area of your emotional state. And then so on the flip side, when I'm feeling emotional, to protect and to serve my immune system, these are the 4 things that I do. So when I'm in an emotional state, these are the 5 things that I do my best to incorporate when I'm feeling funky. And look, it's going to be a bit of a muscle exercise because it's just like when you're emotional, sometimes you just don't feel like doing this. But number one is getting into nature. Like I have my beautiful plants here, but actually immersing myself on a walk. It's generally by water for me that just cleanses everything. But you may be more leaning, and I get this as well, where you may lean more into, bushwalks or in and around a forest or in and around somewhere there's a bit more greenery and a little bit more trees. So whatever floats your boat and whatever your soul is craving at that time, I encourage you to lean into that. Like that's what I like to do. When I'm emotional, and this is probably my most challenging, is to rest, because my default coping mechanism is to keep very busy, to keep going. Oh, no, I don't want to feel that right now. So I'm just going to jam pack my schedule and all the things I need to do with this, and this. So to allow rest in when I'm emotional means that everything kind of slows down and then the thoughts can catch up, which can be daunting when I'm in those states. And I allow myself to get to those points. When I get there and I just we know that they're not going to but it's hard to always grasp at the time, but we know that they're not always going to last. So it's just allowing yourself the grace of okay, just rest. I'll hear all those thoughts and deal with it later. But right now I'm just going to rest. Yes, they're really loud right now and I feel really emotional and really scared and unsafe, but I'm just going to allow myself to rest. And if you can just sort of coach yourself through it, it may help. But you may also just need to realize hey, you know what, right now I just need to connect. And that was my third point, to connect. Whether I connect with my partner, whether I connect with a friend, whether I connect with my kids every day, whether I connect with my sister or my brother, I find people that I can just simply connect with, not necessarily to devote, to unpack everything, but most of the time I love to and need to, but simply just to connect and be I'm feeling pretty off, but can we just hang out? And then water, hydrating your body when you're in an emotional state is very, very, very beneficial, because we know that we are energetic beings. We know that we are water babies as well. We are made up of 70% in and around that percentage, give or take, of water. And so when we are in stress, we deplete ourselves of our water and we need to keep ourselves hydrated. And often I find, and especially in our modern society where we go out for, we work around the clock, we go out for drinks on a social event, or we go out for drinks to stress relieve, we go out for drinks to connect, we have coffee to connect. So these drinks and these coffees, they are dehydrating us, and then we can keep going, and then we keep going, then we load up on more caffeine, and then we go caffeine until we go for a wine. And so you're really not as hydrated as what you probably think. And then often catch yourself if you feel this, where you're the type of person who's just I don't want to pee all the time, so I don't want to drink that much water, so I just won't because I'm too busy. I can't get up and go to the toilet every 5 minutes. Allow yourself to be hydrated. It's if you need to pee, you need to pee. Give yourself that break to reset. But I know our society had previously glorified, we don't have enough time, live off coffee and get the job done. We're flipping it now into prioritizing our health, our wellness, our well-being, so we can not deprive ourselves as we, get whatever jobs it is that we classify done. And then last but not least by any means, it's just being of service. It's just all right, who can I just really just let go of my own stuff and just really just give to? Who can I give to? Maybe it's just babysitting some kids. Sometimes I just want to hang with my niece and nephew. They're so fun. They're just 5, all kids are. They're at that age where you're just you guys are hilarious. And I just love to immerse myself when we're in their reality. It's just great. So that's service connection for them. So it's service and connection. We can give my brother and my sister-in-law some space, or sometimes should they want it. But it's just all right, where can I just disconnect from my own stuff and just be all into somebody else's? And then it can just kind of balance out and decompress what you're experiencing at that time. The takeaways for this episode is, when you are sick, are you able to just ask yourself some lines of questioning of like, if I was to rest, what am I really what does this really mean for me? What meaning am I giving it? And then you'll notice you'll hear some sort of answer of I'm not good enough potentially, or I'm just relieved this is what I need. Awesome. Then stick with that. Stick with what you need. You may feel like I'm anxious, I'm annoyed, I've got so much to do, I'm emotional. And then just keep inquiring like, okay, so why do I feel annoyed if I just allow myself to rest? Because you've got all this stuff you need to do. And if you don't get it done, then you can fail. Why do I feel like I'm going to fail? Because, this is like, you have to get it done. You can't rely on anyone, or you failed because you're supposed to do this and this. And then what if, your business doesn't work out? Okay. So why is my biggest fear my business doesn't work out? Because then I won't be able to have that livelihood. And you can just keep going and asking yourself these questions. Why? Because you're processing the emotions that are trapped in your body. That's, even though you're giving voice to it and you feel like that's unproductive, you're actually processing it. So by giving yourself the consciousness in and around these thoughts that may not have logical, in your logical mind, it may not feel like they're worthy or they're a waste of space. Just know that these simple lines of questioning can help you bring out what's hidden within, that's trapped within your body, that's compromising your health. And you can just bring some awareness to it and let it go. Yes, simultaneously you can be like, holy shit, I can't believe that's what I think. But at the same time, like, well, what's coming up right now, so I'm just going to go with it. And you can give yourself that process to just let it be felt and then dealt with. Same with when you're emotional. When you're in that emotional state, my takeaway for that, I'd love for you to take from that is get around nature, give yourself true deep rest, hydrate your body, connect with people that you feel safe with and that you feel expanded with, and just be of service where you can. And do you have to do all 5? No. You may pick 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Awesome. But just see if that can help just reshift where you're at now so you can get through it or get a little bit more bandwidth around it. So that's it. That's today's episode. I would love to hear how you found it. And guys, we have got an incredible program about to launch ever so soon. This is the Total Life Transformation 6-month program. This is where you will have 5 specialists in your corner for success. They are exclusively here for you, not coaching in with good groups, not being just on modules where you're navigating through. We are one-to-one coaching with you through your health, through your career, through your money, through your relationships, meeting you where you're at, understanding what's blocking it in the subconscious. But then once that's cleared, giving you practical, tangible tools to help you now create new habits, new behaviors, new outcomes, and new purposes. This is what this is all about. So if you are interested, please jump on the wait list. I can't wait to share this with you. Share this episode with your friends, and I look forward to meeting with you on another episode soon. Mwah. Guys, if you're ready to get to the bottom of your crippling self-doubt and finally resolve it from its root source, or if you're feeling like your career isn't hitting the mark and you're questioning where life's heading, if you crave relief from physical pain and just need some real answers, and if you're ready to flip your financial script and rewrite your money story, not only through your subconscious, but with professional practical tools, then jump on board our waitlist now. This 6-month program is breaking new ground in blending subconscious mastery and expert strategy for your success. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on this transformational journey. We are diving deep into those unconscious barriers, and with a dedicated team, we are focusing on your health, your wealth, your relationships, and your career. So hit the show notes, click apply, jump on the wait list, because this is the way to pave your path to true empowerment. I can't wait.